So we asked a group of about 1,000 shoppers where they'd be most likely to pay attention to commercial messages, where were they be most likely to view or take notice of adverts. And I think the results are kind of interesting. So 61% of them said that they'd be very likely to be open to a commercial message when they're on an e-commerce site. Versus 30% of them, they said that they'd be likely to notice an advert when they're on a search engine. 18% of them said that they'd be likely to notice an ad when they're on a portal, and what's the last number? 13%. 13% of them thought that they'd notice an ad when they're on a social networking site. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. These results weren't surprising. But what was surprising was the magnitude of the results. Right? If you would ask me prior to seeing the data, if I thought that advertising in an e-commerce environment was this much better than advertising on a social networking site, I would say, gosh. But what the data is telling us is that people are 4 times more likely to notice commercial messages in an e-commerce context. And it makes intuitive sense, doesn't it? So if you think about the context of an e-commerce site, what's the user there doing? They're there thinking about what they want to buy. They're there with their wallet out thinking about how they want to spend their money. So naturally they're already open to some context of spending cash, as opposed to being on a social network where their primary objective on a social network is to converse or to upload photos or share funny jokes with each other. So this is something that we thought was really interesting. Now let's talk a little bit about intent. So what's the intent of a user when they're in an e-commerce environment? Now this is some data that we looked at recently that shows us that on a large e-commerce site like eBay, users are hunting for brands. And they're looking for brands almost at the same levels as they are on search engines. And in some instances, they're looking for brands orders of magnitude more than they are on search engines. And this was really surprising to us, right? I mean, you think of big search behemoths like Google and Yahoo and MSN, and you think it's amazing that shoppers are actually searching on e-commerce sites at the same levels of magnitude. Now, what does it say to us? Well, what does it say to me? It says to me that I think one of the big trends that we're seeing within eBay are that, well, firstly, users are searching for brands and all. So brand terms and brand associations are things that we see highly ranked in our list of top search keywords day in, day out. And I think the other thing it says to us is that the consumers are getting more sophisticated in the way that they hunt down information, in the way that they hunt down comments. So this concept of vertical search. Right? Are they going to use Google as their first port of call when they're ready to spend money? Or are they going to go to a context or a site where they know that they'll be closer connected to a product or closer connected to a buying experience? So we thought this was really interesting. Now, next pop quiz question with another 25 quid PayPal voucher on the line. What percentage of e-commerce visits or visitors do you guys reckon convert into an actual transaction? So it is in an orderly fashion. First hand up is there.
That's 2%.
Sorry?
2%.
2%? Alright. Spot on. 5%. See me afterwards for that PayPal voucher. 5%, only 5%. I'm surprised to hear them say 2%. Only 5% of visits to e-commerce sites typically result in a transaction, which I think is fairly amazing. I can't tell you exactly what it is on eBay because the corporate communication guys don't have my net, but generally across e-commerce sites, this metric is about 5%, which kind of leads to the question, what the heck are the rest of the 95% of them doing, right? If they're on an e-commerce site, they came there with the intent to buy something, why are only 5% of them converting on stuff? So we believe it's because that they're somewhere else in their purchase cycle, right? And, this is not a concept that's new to any marketing. It's the way that we look at it within eBay. You may have seen it as the purchase funnel. We look at it as a bit of a purchase cycle. So, these 6 stages that the consumer may go on when they're trying to work out, whether they're ready to spend some money, starts off at the desire stage. So I'm going to keep referring back to this. I'm going to keep using this travel example to go through the cycle. So, at the desire stage, you're knackered, you're tired, you've lost your tan, and you do know that you want to go on a holiday, right? You're definitely at the desire stage. I desire something. I want a holiday. You're not yet sure where to go. You've moved on to the browse stage. You need a bit more of an inspiration. You need to know where the hot destinations are. And you might go out there and do a bit more research to work out how you work out what the best destination for you is. Italy, Greece, where do you go? And then you move deeper into the research stage, right? I think at this point you've narrowed down a little bit what kind of holiday you're looking for. I think I'm looking for a beach holiday. I think it's the Amalfi Coast. I want to lie on the beach. I want to drink Peru and a beer. And I want the best deal, right? And this is the point where you start going to the travel agencies, you start going to the travel sites, and you start whittling down and comparing options to actually get to what that best deal is for you. And then the exciting parts, right? So you're at the purchase stage. You found the best deal possible on a travel website. You know exactly where you're going. You're going to the Amalfi Coast, and you've booked the holiday. You get that big grin on your face when you've actually, that grin that you get when you spend money. That grin that my wife sees far too often. She's always tapping on the shoulder saying, "Oh, it's so much money." That's what I call the purchase grin. You're happy that you've made a purchase and you've spent your money. Now that purchase grin continues over to the confirmation stage, where you've now got a finite time period where you know between now and X number of days I'm going on a holiday, right? And you've confirmed that is a reality in your life. I'm just going on a holiday 3 weeks from now. But the real payoff comes at the fulfillment stage, right? It's I am on a holiday. I'm lying on that beach. I'm soaking in the sun. I'm probably playing beach volleyball not very well, because the Italians are better at beach volleyball than I am. But I'm enjoying myself because I decided somewhere out there that I desired a holiday, and now I've got a holiday. Not rocket surgery, but it's always good to kind of think conceptually about what a consumer goes through. Now, I wanted to run you through how this concept of going through these stages of the purchase cycle actually transfer into a very real-life situation like being on the high street. So in terms of kind of picking an example that I'd walk you guys through, I thought I'd use my own life and talk you through some things that I go through on a daily basis. Now, this is not a prize-winning opportunity, but does anyone know where this is? Can you yell it out? Richmond? It's Richmond. It's beautiful Richmond on the Thames. And this is where eBay's European headquarters are. So we are right there. Lovely building, right on the river. $1 million views. We all quite enjoy it. You can often find my team lazing about on the lawn if it's a sunny day. Now, this is our little Richmond High Street. This is where we go at lunchtimes to pick up a bite to eat or get distracted and potentially engage somewhere in those 6 cycles of the purchase cycle. And just on this video, I thought it was a bit of a funny photo because it reminds me of a scene out of some kind of zombie apocalypse movie. I've never seen Richmond High Street this empty. So if you've seen a movie called 28 Days Later, watch it and you'll see this scene and you'll think, hey, that reminds me of that presentation or that eBay guy did. Now, this is me doing the regular thing that I do at about 12:30 every day, where I've decided to leave the office, head out to the high street, normally pick up some kind of bacon sandwich from Fred and then stroll around the stores, deciding whether there's anything for me to waste my money on. Now, on a day like today, what have I done? I've walked by House of Fraser, which is right near the office, and I've been inspired. I think they've triggered that desire stage in my thinking where I've seen something in the window that's 50% off. It's a pair of potato mitts. And for those who don't know what potato mitts are, they're mitts that you wear to hold potatoes when they're really hot, because how would you hold a really hot potato otherwise? I'm not lying about the potato mitts either. They're actually a real-life product. I asked my team to find the most useless kitchen utensil they could find, and they found the potato mitts. So I don't know whether I want potato mitts or not, but now because I've seen it and I've thought about the logistics of how it might improve my life, I've decided that it's in my desire set. I desire a set of potato mitts. But I've not decided to buy it yet. I probably will run that one by my wife first to make sure she approves of what drawer the potato mitt might sit in. And then I've walked a little bit further and I've moved into Ted Baker, one of my favourite fashion brands, on Richmond High Street. And I think right here I've moved into the browse stage where I'm browsing the aisles. I'm not sure whether there is anything there that I want to buy, but I've decided to check out the latest spring fashions and see whether there are any styles or fabrics that I can't live without. still not yet decided to buy something, but I'm definitely going down that route of being inspired and working out whether there is something I want to spend my money on. So still not yet bought anything, but now I've moved over to Tesco, and here I think I'm at the research part of the purchase cycle. It's Friday morning, and on Friday morning my team has champagne breakfasts, because they always have champagne breakfasts because they work in media. And I know exactly what I want. I know I want champagne, but I'm at the research stage, so I think my key action here is to try to work out whether I can get a deal. And luckily, Tesco has some kind of super cheap deal on some kind of cheap champagne that isn't flying for the shelves, but it's cheap enough for my team, so gosh darn it, I'm going to buy it. The other thing I learned from taking this photo is that Tesco do not like it when you take photos of their stores. So if you take anything away, remember that Tesco do not like it when you take photos of their stores. Now, I've actually gone back to Ted Baker's. I remember there was that shirt that I remember, right? It was a great shirt. And now I'm at the purchase stage, right? I'm ready to buy something. And actually, Ted's done a very clever thing here. Right at point of sale, he's decided to cross-sell me with these remarkably flash-looking ties that I'm not yet sure whether I want. But because I'm at the confirmation stage and I've always got that confirmation grin on, I may be ready to actually spend more money on other things. But I didn't. So I just bought the thing that I came to Ted Baker to buy. Now we're over to the confirmation stage, and like I said earlier, that confirmation smile lingers because you've bought something that you really love, and you've realised that you've got something else to add to the wardrobe. You've realised that at that dinner party you're going to go to on Friday night, you're going to be the sharpest dressed man at the table. And then you go to the payoff stage, the fulfillment stage, where I think I look pretty amazing in this purple floral shirt. And I know that what I'm wearing, the guys on the catwalks in Milan have already worn on the catwalks 3 months earlier. And whilst not everyone may share my opinion about whether I look amazing in this shirt or not, I feel good about myself. I fulfilled that need that I had when I left the office, simply wanting to buy a sandwich firstly, but then somehow entering the purchase cycle, and I've picked up this shirt that I think makes me feel and look fantastic. Now, let's try to take this concept and apply it to the online high street. So we know that more and more people are shopping online. And I think that the online version of the high street actually opens up a lot of opportunities that didn't exist previously for brands to connect to consumers at very specific points, and for you guys to be able to communicate messages in a very meaningful way. Now let's talk about the first step, the desire stage. So I want something new or I need something new, right? And I think the analogy here for me is, back to the real life high streets. When I was walking in front of the House of Fraser and their shop front window inspired me to buy something. And I think that for e-commerce sites, this is our homepage, right? Our homepage is where users come to this part of the site. They're not yet sure what they want to do or how they want to engage with the site, but they know they're there for something, right? And I think this is a perfect venue for brands and advertisers to communicate with the consumer and to get into their desire set. Now, moving on to the browse stage, where they may be a bit further into the purchase cycle. They may have a view for what category they're shopping in, or what kind of product they're looking for. But they could do with a bit more inspiration, right? And on our side, these are what we call our browse search result pages, or our category pages, where users kind of just streaming through the pages, not really sure what they want, but they're just going to keep looking through until they see something that grabs them. And I think for brands, great opportunity to get to their consideration set, right? And if they're already shopping and they can still be persuaded, why wouldn't you want to persuade them?